and welcome to another fellow presentation. Today we have beautiful Yasmin. She has one of the coolest projects here, and I'm very excited to let her introduce herself and the project as well.
So my project named Spatial Manifestation of Self-Governance Groups in Addis Ababa, Nairobi, and Khartoum, East African cities. Just to introduce myself, I am Yasmin Bushra. I went to architecture school for my undergrad degree at the Ethiopian Institute of Architecture, Building Construction, and City Development. And I am now working on my research for my master's at the Institute of Development Research for development studies, working on the institutions. And I was saying earlier, Ethiopian coffee remains undisputed. Challengers been in line. You can go to the next slide. So what is this project about? This project tries to explore self-governance groups. These are, we can say informal, but not truly, because they have their own manuals, their own booklets on to how to manage their communities. So they're not really informal, but they are community organizations that are spontaneously formed. They are institutions that are ubiquitously found in urban Ethiopia, but this project focuses on Addis Ababa. And this project tries to see basically how self-help works in the absence of strong state-led urban services within these community institutions. That are called IDRs in Addis Ababa, and how this participation in urban service delivery by communities can help reimagine authority and autonomy in the future in a fast urbanizing country, in a fast urbanizing global south in Ethiopia. How can these self-help groups reimagine basically the concept of citizenship and how the right to the city works? So with this aim, looking further into the IDR organization in Addis Ababa, these groups act as lobbying groups between community interests and local government interests. So they are mediating entities. They create an atmosphere to foster economic development, to strengthen social ties, and how these egalitarian networks and these trusted communities, organizations within the people can foster better development within the community and basically create empowerment and encourage new thinking. So with this in mind, we can say that these groups are pillars of resilience within the city, within the smallest entity, that is the local government. And in Ethiopia especially, they remain indispensable structures to low-level income groups because people offer support to each other through these networks, through these shared networks. Next slide, please. So exploring it further, historically, they are known to deliver one function, which are funerary associations, but through time and through the consistent in delivery of urban services within the city, they have grown into multifunctional networks within Addis Ababa. But unfortunately, these groups are not much explored in their actions, what sort of actions they perform and what sort of engagement they have to these local governments. So the focus of this research, this investigation, this endeavor, geographically, it is centered in Addis Ababa, but substantively, it tries to see what relationship they have with local governments. Not essentially, it is not essentially focused within the social dimensions. What social obligations do these people have, but how they act within the urban service delivery realm. Next slide, please. So keeping in mind that these groups are not much explored on their engagement with local government, The research uses the CGT method, that is the constructivist grounded theory method, to understand this engagement. And the traditional process uses open coding, focus coding, and theoretical coding methods. Open coding and focus coding methods basically apply an iterative process of data collection and data organization. So it's a back and forth process basically between the researcher looking for information, organizing the data, and then looking for further information to come up and to explain a process of the engagements of IDR with local governments. So basically, voice notes, memos, sketches are used to explore what sort of process there is. Through the code you see on the screen, you can see what the locations are explored within Addis Ababa for the moment and for this specific project. Next slide, please. So what did I find within this exploration? The theoretical coding basically is an inductive qualitative research method that brought out the co-production framework. The co-production framework, what it entails is the co-creating mode of engagement of IDRs with local governments, the cooperating mode of engagement, and the co-opting mode of engagement. The co-creating mode of engagement basically entails IDRs that are highly active within their communities, and because of this high activity with urban service delivery, they have sort of surpassed to the level of consultation with local governments, and they have attained a level of negotiation. What this means is when some activity is planned to take place in a specific area, in a specific community, the first groups that are consulted, even by local government entities, are the IDRs. So if the IDRs are interested and able to apply themselves within these activities go on, but if they seem reserved, these activities are basically rethought, reimagined. The next is the cooperating mode of engagement. This is where we see a clear hierarchy between local governments and IDRs. This means when an activity is planned within an area, the local government basically announces that something is happening and the IDRs follow through. And this shows there's a power dynamics basically that is seen within this mode of engagement. And the co-opting mode of engagement is IDRs clearly recognize that they need to remain independent institutions within their communities, and for fear of coercion and being subject to political instruments, they actively disengage to perform activities with their local governments. So these are case presentations from the 3 levels of engagement. The first case I have chosen is the co-creating, from the co-creating is the Hams to Mahabarat IDRs that is found in the eastern part of Addis Ababa, that holds around 478 households. And this IDR basically manages the community space. It has managed to build recreational space that are meant for children to be used by these households. It has a community garden in the urban space. Basically offers these activities on its own without the Warada administration administering its bits and activities. So within this negotiation that we mentioned, the Warada, the IDR institution has managed to lobby the local government to manage local nuances such as closing roads, using open spacings for the use of the community. These activities remain to be ones that should have been performed by the local government, but since due to financial reasons or other reasons, since the local government doesn't perform them, the IDR takes over and performs or manages and maintains these activities. Case presentation for the cooperating mode of engagement is the Andunet IDR. This IDR is located in the historical part of Addis Ababa within a heritage building. within a heritage building. And what this IDR does is basically manages and maintains a local public library that is financed by the local administration. So basically what this IDR does is maintain all the books, maintain the building itself, indirectly contributing to heritage upkeep and preservation, and indirectly maintains a knowledge sharing space that should have been an activity that should have been performed by the local government, but is taken over by the IDR institution. So these are images of where the IDR is located. It does not have a space for assembly for itself, but only owns a storage space within the heritage building, that is the Musayminas residence in Piazza area in Addis Ababa, and maintains a library that is somehow dilapidating or is on the deteriorating side of things, but because of the presence of the IDR, the library is constantly maintained and repaired. The final case presentation is the Yehuat Masarat IDR that is found also in the eastern part of Addis Ababa. This IDR has hosts 320 households within its area. Its area of influence is quite large, but it remains to co-opt from activities to cooperate with local governments due to fear of coercion, as discussed before. So the only activity this IDR maintains is only collection of resources monthly for its monofunctional activity, that is a funerary association. Next slide, please. So the idea is to expand this project further from Addis Ababa and to learn what sort of engagements local community organizations, self-help groups have within their smaller communities. Learn from the Addis Ababa case, that is the IDR, and further in the future learn from the Nairobi case, that is the Tarangata, and then Khartoum case that is the Lejan Magawama, and then craft a CCI toolkit for the community participation and resilience to incorporate within the governance handbook.